In March, the Minister and I both attended the launch of the Adelaide Climate Action Week. In her speech at the event, the Minister indicated that she was proud that Parliament has declared a climate emergency. The word emergency is usually defined as an unexpected and difficult or dangerous situation which happens suddenly and which requires quick action to deal with it. The Government's 2024 statewide climate change risk and opportunity assessment for South Australia states that within my children's lifetime, 75% of risks are predicted to be extreme unless we take quick action. The report states, and I quote, "The SA Climate Change Risk Assessment found that a wide range of actions are being taken to address climate change. However, these efforts may not be sufficient to fully address current and projected risks and opportunities." My question to the Minister for Climate, Environment and Water is the Minister committed to quick action to deal with the climate emergency to reduce the risks to our communities, and does she have sufficient power within Cabinet to ensure this happens?
Minister.
I thank the honourable member, where are you? For your first question. I did enjoy attending that event, and I think it was on my second or third day that we were able to join that event together. We have declared ongoing that we believe in climate change and highlighted that something needs to happen. And I think at that event, and I'm going to try and recall those numbers, so forgive me if I get the percentage wrong, but in the last 17 years, we've gone from 2% in net renewables generated to now 75% and hopefully 100% next year. That is a significant achievement in a short period of time, but so much more needs to be done. We know that there is practical things that we need to be looking at as well, and that's where government has levers that they can pull and lead. In infrastructure and transport, for example, we've seen that when we're now building roads, we're building them differently. We're using repurposed products like glass bottles. In the Aldinga intersection, there is the equivalent of about 30 million glass bottles that have gone into that road that would have ultimately gone into landfill otherwise. We are seeing that we are putting land aside that would have otherwise, like the Torrens to Darlington project, a project that is a significant road infrastructure project, but it's also giving back the largest urban space, green open space that we have as a government and as a state before, to ensure that we are having more open green space and planting of trees. We're putting into legislation that if we're removing a tree, 3 trees need to be planted in its place. There are continuous practical things that we need to be looking at that we can do to make sure that less is going into our waste and going into our built form at the end. But we also need to be doing what happens at the beginning of this story. So already we've had our first Environment Ministers meeting where all federal ministers have come together. This was a key issue. Everyone is grappling with what can we do to do things better, whether it's batteries, whether it's recycling, how we are preventing waste from going into our system. So there is more we need to do. Climate impacts all of us. It impacts every single portfolio. We have already been sitting down to work out what can we be doing differently, and it's something I want to learn a lot more about, because at the end of the day, we'll all pay the price if we don't.
Supplementary question?
Supplementary, I will listen to it.
The Minister mentioned that for every 1 tree that is removed, 3 will be replacing those trees. Is the Minister aware that it takes approximately 300 trees to replace a tree that is 150 years old?
Minister.
When I said that, I thought that would get your attention. So I guess in regards to the where we have put that into legislation, we have already made comments publicly that we will use mature trees as much as we can. I appreciate the comments that you are making. Mature tree won't be necessarily of the same scale that you have indicated, of the one that we might see at a golf course, for example. But, you know, what we are also doing is replacing 1 tree with 3. There will be, at the end, a lot more trees in that one location, but we know we need to do more. And as I said, it's projects like the Torrens to Darlington project that has enabled us to think differently. It's not about just building a project, it's about building a more connected community, it's about having more open spaces, and it's about making sure it's a more enjoyable community because of those green spaces.